Loneliness is a key factor in worsening mental health among seniors. It is one of those quiet truths that we do not always want to admit, especially when the people we love seem to be doing just fine on the outside. But maybe you have started to notice small changes. A father who no longer picks up the phone when you call. A grandmother who used to smile every morning now sitting in silence by the window. A once active neighbor who slowly fades from the neighborhood walks. You wonder, is this just aging or is something else happening? The truth is, after the age of 65, many older adults begin facing emotional struggles that often go unnoticed. Depression, anxiety, memory loss. Not because they are weak, but because isolation, grief, and physical decline quietly chip away at their sense of self. And most of them will never say it out loud. This video is for anyone who has ever worried about an aging parent, grandparent, or even themselves wondering if the silence, the forgetfulness, or the sadness is something more than just getting old. Together we will uncover the hidden risks behind mental decline in older adults, the subtle signs you should never ignore, and the powerful ways to protect emotional well-being as we age. You will also discover how to support someone from a distance, even when you cannot be there in person. If any part of this message touches something inside you, leave us a comment, subscribe to our channel, and consider sharing this video with someone who might need it. Sometimes the right words at the right moment can be the very thing someone was quietly waiting for. Why mental health quietly declines after 65. Walter never expected to feel lonely in his own home. He had lived there for over 40 years, raised children, hosted holidays, and planted roses in the backyard each spring. But after his wife passed and his friends became harder to reach, the house grew quieter. Days stretched on with no plans. And slowly, without realizing it, Walter began to disappear from the life he once loved. His story is not rare. In fact, it is becoming more common with each passing year. After the age of 65, many older adults face a unique mix of emotional and physical challenges, often layered together in ways that are easy to overlook. These challenges do not always arrive with clear warning signs. Instead, they settle in slowly, like dust gathering on a shelf. One of the biggest factors is loneliness. It is not just about being alone. It is the absence of meaningful connections, someone to talk to, laugh with, or simply sit beside. Research shows that chronic loneliness increases the stress hormone cortisol, which over time damages memory, weakens the immune system, and raises the risk of depression, anxiety, and even heart disease. Retirement is another major transition. While it is often celebrated as a time of rest, it also removes structure and social interaction. For many, work was more than a job. It was a daily rhythm, a sense of purpose, and a place for relationships. Without that, days can feel long, directionless, and disconnected. Then there is grief and loss. As people age, they experience more goodbyes to friends, siblings, spouses. Each loss takes something with it, not just the person, but the sense of stability and identity. Grief is not just sadness. It can trigger depression, fatigue, sleep problems, and even physical illness. Health decline plays a role too. Chronic pain, mobility issues, and cognitive changes like forgetfulness or confusion can affect how people see themselves. When someone no longer feels useful or independent, their mental health often begins to suffer quietly. And finally, we must mention social isolation, which became even more pronounced during the pandemic. Older adults who were already struggling with connection found themselves even more cut off from the world, often without the digital skills to stay in touch virtually. Each of these factors alone can be challenging, but when they occur together, as they often do, they create the perfect storm for mental decline. What begins as just slowing down can quietly become sadness, withdrawal, or even early memory loss. But here is the truth: many people do not hear enough. None of these changes have to lead to long-term decline. Mental health in later life can be supported, strengthened, and protected, but only if we know what to look for. Nothing ever happens all at once. Walter did not wake up one day feeling depressed or lost. Everything started with quiet changes small enough to be overlooked. He began canceling coffee with neighbors, missed a doctor's appointment, skipped lunch one day, then forgot to turn off the light before bed on another. The house, once bright and familiar, now felt dim and still. When his daughter came to visit, she noticed the mailbox overflowing expired food in the fridge and dust gathering on the dinner table. Walter insisted he was fine, just slowing down with age, but his eyes had lost their usual spark. Many people would see this and think it is just aging. But in truth, it could be an early sign of something deeper, a slow decline in mental well-being. In older adults, depression and anxiety rarely appear with clear symptoms like sadness or crying. Instead, they show up through silence, disconnection, and subtle changes in behavior and daily habits. Often those around them miss the early signs because they do not come with tears, they come in the form of small shifts in how a person lives. Some may lose interest in what once brought them joy. They stop gardening, turn off the music they used to love, or no longer ask about their grandchildren during phone calls. Others grow quiet and begin to retreat into themselves. They avoid calls, turn down invitations, and slowly withdraw from the communities and routines that once gave their life meaning. Some begin to neglect personal care. They forget to shower, wear the same clothes for days, or stop combing their hair. These details might seem small, unshaved beards, overgrown nails, clothes slightly out of place, but they can be powerful clues. There are also signs that are easy to overlook but speak volumes. Changes in sleep patterns, lack of appetite, or irregular eating. Forgetting dates and appointments, taking medication incorrectly, or missing bill payments. These changes, if repeated over time, are not just signs of aging. They are quiet signals from a soul that is growing tired. They are the body's way of saying that it is struggling to stay connected to the outside world. The challenge is that many older adults will not say they are having a hard time. Some do not want to be a burden. Others do not realize something is wrong. That is why the attention of loved ones matters so much. Not to judge, not to fix, but to listen and notice. To pay attention to the changes, even the small ones, in how someone lives their life each day. Sometimes a slower pace is just part of growing older. But when someone begins to withdraw, to let go of what once mattered, it is often a sign they need help. We cannot stop time, but we can help prevent a soul from slipping quietly into silence. And as we will see next offering, that help does not require anything grand. Just the right moment, the right way, and a little human care. When Walter's daughter began to notice the changes, she was not sure what to do at first. He still insisted everything was fine. He still smiled, still told jokes, just less often. But she trusted her instincts. Something had shifted, and she decided to gently step in. She did not try to fix everything at once. She started with one simple thing. She came by every Saturday morning for breakfast. They would eat toast and eggs, drink tea, and talk about nothing in particular. At first, the conversations were light, sometimes quiet, but over time, Walter started opening up. He began looking forward to those mornings. He started going outside again, even calling an old friend he had not spoken to in years. That small act, a weekly breakfast, was the beginning of something bigger. Support does not always need to come in big, dramatic ways. Often the most powerful help is consistent, thoughtful, and quiet. And it starts with understanding what older adults truly need to feel mentally and emotionally well. One of the most important things is routine. Having a sense of rhythm, waking up at the same time, eating meals regularly, knowing what day it is, gives structure to the day. It brings stability to the mind. You can help your loved one by creating simple systems. A large calendar on the wall, a daily checklist, reminders for medication, gentle encouragement to get dressed each morning. The next is connection. Help them stay involved in something meaningful. That might be a weekly gathering at a senior center, a book club, a small church group, or even a phone call with a grandchild. Humans are social by nature, and the sense of belonging, even through small interactions, can uplift the spirit more than we realize. Mental stimulation also plays a key role. You do not need brain games or complex puzzles. Sometimes it is as simple as looking through photo albums together, watching a documentary, or helping them learn to use a video call app. New experiences, no matter how small. Keep the mind active and remind them that they still have something to discover. If they enjoy music, try playing familiar songs from their youth. If they used to love cooking, invite them to help with a simple recipe. Even the act of sharing a memory can help restore a sense of identity and purpose. If you live far away, you can still make a difference. Video calls, letters, and regular check-ins show them that they matter. If they are not comfortable with technology, ask a neighbor or caregiver to help set things up. Many modern tablets are designed with seniors in mind, large buttons, simple screens, and loudspeakers. And perhaps most importantly, pay attention. If you notice they are withdrawing again, or their mood is shifting, do not ignore it. Gently ask how they are feeling. If you sense something more serious, such as signs of depression or cognitive decline, encourage them to see their doctor. Offer to go with them. Listen without rushing. Let them know you are not there to judge, only to walk beside them. The goal is not to make everything perfect. It is to create space where they can still feel seen, heard, and valued. Because in the end, support is not about doing more. It is about being there, consistently, kindly, and with presence. Even small acts, a cup of tea, a kind word, a familiar voice can carry more healing power than we imagine. And for someone who may feel the world has started to forget them, your presence could be exactly what reminds them that they still belong. It is easy to assume that slowing down is just a part of getting older, that forgetfulness is harmless, that losing interest in things is simply a sign of age. But sometimes what seems small on the surface is the beginning of something that needs care and attention. So, how do you know when it is time to act? The answer often lies in patterns. One missed appointment is not a crisis, but forgetting several combined with skipped meals and long hours alone is something to notice. It is the accumulation of small changes that tells the real story. Pay close attention if your loved one no longer enjoys things they once loved, avoids phone calls, visits, or social gatherings, stops keeping up with grooming hygiene or getting dressed each day, skips medications, misses meals, or stops going to the doctor, lets their home become cluttered or unclean, especially if they were once meticulous, starts forgetting names, dates, or gets lost in familiar places, shows sudden changes in personality, such as increased irritability, fear, or deep quietness, makes mistakes with money, like missing bill payments or overpaying them, talks about feeling empty, hopeless, or not wanting to be a burden. Sometimes the signs are more subtle. You might notice that they no longer open the curtains in the morning, or that the television is on for hours but no one is really watching, or that their meals have become dry crackers and tea, nothing warm, nothing nourishing. And in some cases, the person may withdraw completely. They stop answering calls. They make excuses to avoid family. They no longer express joy. These are not just signs of aging. They are signs that someone may be quietly slipping into isolation, depression, or cognitive decline. So, what can you do when you start to see these things? The first step is gentle conversation, not confrontation, not pressure, just a soft check-in. Ask how they are sleeping, what they have been eating, whether they have had any good days lately. Let them talk without feeling judged. Sometimes just being able to share how they feel opens a door they were too afraid to walk through alone. The next step is encouragement without urgency. Suggest seeing their primary care doctor. Offer to schedule the appointment. Offer to go with them. Many older adults feel anxious about medical visits. Your presence can ease that fear. If memory loss seems concerning, bring it up with kindness. You might say, I have noticed a few things lately that seem different, and I just want to make sure everything is okay. You are not labeling them. You are simply noticing and showing you care. In the United States, there is also support available. You can call or text 988, the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline from anywhere. Trained professionals can help you talk through your concerns and offer advice on next steps. If needed, they can connect you with local services or send help directly. Most importantly, remember this: early intervention changes everything. The sooner depression, anxiety, or cognitive decline is identified, the more likely it is that steps can be taken to slow down or even reverse the process. Treatments work, community helps, therapy helps, medications when needed can restore balance. But only if we act early before silence becomes suffering. Your role is not to carry their pain for them. It is to walk beside them, hold the light when things feel dark, and remind them that they do not have to go through this alone, because they may not ask for help. But if you are paying attention, you may be the one who sees what they no longer can. And that can be the moment everything starts to change. If there is one thing we must remember, it is this: growing older does not mean losing your light. It does not mean giving up joy, purpose, or peace. And it certainly does not mean you are beyond help. Mental health is not just for the young, it is for every season of life. And even in later years, even after loss, after hardship, after long silences, the door to healing can still open. We have seen it happen. There was Mrs. Eliza, who spent months after her husband passed barely speaking to anyone. Her daughters worried. The house grew quiet. But then one neighbor knocked and invited her to a Sunday potluck. She almost said no, but she went. And there, sitting next to someone who had also lost a spouse, she laughed for the first time in weeks. That single afternoon became the start of her healing. There was Mr. Raymond, who struggled with memory lapses and shame. He isolated himself thinking his forgetfulness was a sign of weakness. But when his son gently brought him to a support group, he realized he was not alone. Other people were facing the same fears. Together they shared strategies, encouragement, and comfort. Raymond began writing things down again, walking more, and smiling more often. And there was Nora, who had not left her apartment in months. Her granddaughter called her every evening, 5 minutes, sometimes 10, just to talk about her day. At first, Nora barely spoke, but over time she looked forward to those calls. She began brushing her hair again, setting the table again, living again. These stories are not rare, they are reminders. Reminders that the heart still longs for connection, that the mind, even when clouded by sadness, still remembers how to heal, that the body, even when slower, still responds to care and kindness. Hope does not have an expiration date. It comes in small things: a warm meal, a walk in the sun, a conversation with someone who listens. It grows slowly but steadily when we feel seen and understood. So, if you are an older adult, know this: you are not alone. If you feel anxious, low, or distant from who you used to be, that feeling is not weakness. It is a signal. And signals are meant to guide you somewhere toward help, toward peace, toward yourself. And if you are someone who loves an older adult, do not give up. Even the smallest effort, a visit, a call, a note, a meal shared, might be the beginning of a return. You may not see change overnight, but presence speaks louder than words, because what matters most is not fixing everything. It is staying close. Healing is never too late to begin, and it often starts in quiet places when someone feels safe enough to say, "I am not okay," and someone else is there to say, "You do not have to be not alone. You still have time, you still have power, you still have a life that deserves to feel whole." So, begin today. Take a breath, reach out, speak gently, choose hope. It may be the beginning of something better than you ever expected.